Hello out there in cryptocurrency land. Welcome back to Real Crypto. Good to have you guys back. I'm glad to see you're still with cryptocurrencies after all this mania and mayhem. It's quite a manic market. If you're new to this market, if you've been buying since the $15,000 level, thank you for joining us here in cryptocurrency land. And your first taste of Bitcoin has been complete. It is a finicky beast. It moves up, it moves down in great percentages. And you just kind of have to get used to that. And you either get used to it by hodling or you get used to it by learning price action and selling before we turn into a crazy downtrend like we saw just basically a couple of weeks ago. And since my last video, Bitcoin's actually turned up. I won't say it's turned positive, but it's definitely turned up into a tradable rally, which I've been partaking in. But if you look at the volume as of recently, it's still really quiet. It's still very quiet volume in Bitcoin. We're not getting a bunch of green pops. We only have pretty much 2 green pops to speak of. Here's a nice green pop. This green bottom was actually sold into, so that's actually a topping candle. So a topping candle, a bottoming candle, and now a breakout candle, if you will. So. And where we are right now, we're at the 16,000 level, is a battleground. We're going to be battling all the way up here to about 16,500. So I'm expecting Bitcoin to be fairly choppy between 16 and 16.5. If that's not the case and we don't chop around, and by choppy action, what I mean is action kind of like this. Over the holidays, over the 24th and the 25th, where we saw basically sideways to slightly up action in Bitcoin. I'm expecting something similar, up or down. May both break to the upside. We'll have to wait and see. But once we do finally break through the 16.5 level, that's where the real fun begins. And that's where we have to see what's going to happen over $17,500. Are we going to sell into this and see these big spikes like we see here? Spike on some pretty decent volume here. And I think this spike didn't have much volume, but that just shows there's lack of buyers around. So even after this big long spike to the downside, we came all the way back up. We tried to push higher and we failed. So there's pretty much only one pop right there. And then we go lower. So do we see something similar where the volume in Bitcoin just dries up again? If you remember in my previous video, we talked about Bitcoin volume drying up on this final run up. Just kind of really doing nothing at the top. We had a nice little push to the top with a little bit of volume. But then when we finally got here and tried to continue, it just failed. And you saw that by lack of volume and then increasing volume to the sell side. So are we going to see that up here towards 18? That's yet to be seen. But for the meantime, Bitcoin seems to be in a little bit of an uptrend. So take advantage of that while you can. If you're still holding bags from higher levels, you have to decide if you're going to sell when it gets up towards here. That's a decision you have to make. The charts are going to tell me something, and unfortunately, I probably will not be there to tell you exactly what to do. But if you're interested in knowing how to trade that top, you can look at these prior topping areas and just kind of see how the price action handles, see how the closes happen, see where the volume comes into play. And you can look at you can look at prior highs as well, like around this 11,500. You see low volume here at the top. Let me zoom in on there. Wow, what happened? So here's the 11,500. No, that's 19. Sorry. There's 11,500, and you can see there's just lack of buying on the upside, and then you start to see some selling. So if you start to see signals like this, pretty much at any level you can consider a distribution. And then here we saw a big bottoming candle. So that top and bottom happened really quickly within 6 hours. I'm on the 2-hour chart here on Bitcoin. So within 6 hours at the 11.5, we saw a topping candle and a bottoming candle. So this can happen fairly quickly. And if we're not going to go towards 20,000, if we're going to get up and stay towards 18,000, then that can happen quickly as well. As you can see, this happened within about 4 to 12 hours. This little top over here and this little top occurred over about a day or so. So you're going to have a little bit of time to do some analysis, place some alerts at some levels, and then just kind of let the market play itself out. You don't want to overanalyze it. You want to pick your spots ahead of time, let the alerts go off, and then you can make another assumption about the markets at that moment in time. But like I said, you can look at prior highs. Here's the 5,000 high going down to 3,000. You can take a look at that one. You can also take a look at this prior high here at 3,000, 2,800 when we rolled over here. So take a look at these highs, see how they behave, kind of get a feel for how Bitcoin plays, because Bitcoin's in kind of a league of its own. You're not going to get a lot of you're not going to get a lot of moves similar in other altcoins. Bitcoin kind of trades by itself in the fact that it's so large. It is the granddaddy after all. So if you want to play Bitcoin, if you want to invest in Bitcoin, my advice is get to know Bitcoin. Look at different time frames at these different market turning points. See what happened just before it broke out. If you want to play it for the upside, you want to be prepared for that too. Because when we get up towards 18,000, look guys, I haven't been saying it's a guaranteed sell. What I've been saying is you want to see what the market action is doing. And for those of you that think the technical analysis is voodoo, you probably haven't made it this far in the video. But what technical analysis shows you is the buyers and sellers participation. And no matter what you think about Bitcoin fundamentally or otherwise, the marketplace is what determines the value. These people here buying and selling at all these levels determines what makes the market. So you have to understand their behavior. All right, guys, so Bitcoin right now in an intermediate term uptrend. Looks like hopefully we're going to go higher from here after this little fight from the 16,000 level. We'll just have to wait and see at that point. Right now we're kind of at a precipice of this prior high with a fight up to the 16.5 level. All right, guys, there you go. Enjoy the Bitcoin sideways market to slight uptrend. We're going to see some rallies in altcoins. That's obvious. We're seeing a little bit here and there. Pick your spots there as well. Have a good one, guys. I will see you in the next video.